Hello, and welcome to episode number 10 of the Rabe Creations podcast. My name's Nicole, and I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, here in Canada, where I live with my husband Barry, my son Riley, and my beautiful rescued Rottweiler named Grace. So it has been 2 weeks since we last sat and chatted, so to all returning viewers, hello, welcome back, I'm so glad to see you. And to any new viewers who may have found us, welcome. This podcast deals with crochet mainly. There is also a fair amount of sewing. Some other crafts get thrown in once in a while, but I'd say crochet and sewing are the two big ones. But there is also a book recommendation at the end of every episode as well. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, please sit back, relax, and come along with us for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Alrighty, let's see. So it was Canada Day yesterday, Canada's 151st birthday. So we are in the midst of a long weekend, which is kind of nice. My long weekends are a little bit different than others because working retail, I normally get Sundays and Mondays off, normally. And for the long weekend, I'm going to be having Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So today, it is July 1st, and I am in the very middle of my long weekend. It is July 4th coming up here too, so happy 4th of July to all those who are viewing from the States. All right, what else is there to talk about before we jump into things? This episode, we will be giving away the 100 subscribers giveaway package, so stay tuned for that. I won't make you wait all the way to the end, but a little bit further along. Yeah, so that is pretty exciting. So getting right into it, what am I wearing? So the shawl I am wearing today is one that I made a little while ago. It is called the Fluffy Meringue Shawl. And it is a based on the pattern, the Fluffy Meringue baby blanket pattern by Yarnspirations. And I did follow a tutorial for this on, again, the Crochet Crowd, Mikey over at the Crochet Crowd. I believe what I was wearing last week was also one of his tutorials. It does remind me a little bit of the virus shawl pattern. Let me take it off and give you a better look. So yeah, it does remind me a little bit of the virus shawl pattern in its construction, I guess. It was done in a Karen cake. Surprise, surprise. I can't remember the colorway. As I said, it was a little while ago. Yeah, you start up at the top, and then the motifs join all the way down the middle. You can see a seam that runs completely down the middle, and then the motifs sort of double up on each other as they go down and down and down. You can make this absolutely huge. I kind of like this size. I might also like it just a little bit bigger. It is fairly warm, and I have to tell you, the weather here today, it has been fairly nice out. But the weather today, it is threatening to rain, so it's that, I can only describe it as heavy. It feels heavy. Now, traditionally, Calgary is an extremely dry and arid place to live. We get heat, but it's a dry heat. We get cold, but it's a dry cold. Today, though, because it's threatening to rain, it is a lot more humid than we're used to. Now, our humidity and the humidity that some of you experience who actually live near water are two very different things. But when you live in a climate that is traditionally very, very dry, the slightest bit of humidity and we feel it. So I will try and wear my shawl throughout the podcast today, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If it gets to be too warm, I may have to take it off. Alrighty, well, let's swing this back on. There we go. Alrighty, so I'm just going to grab my show notes. Excuse me for a moment. Yes, I believe that is all I needed to talk about in my opening segment. So again, thank you for coming along, and let's move right on into the giveaway winner announcement. Okay, into the giveaway winner announcement. So those of you who have been watching the podcast for a while, well, at least for 1 or 2 episodes now, will know that I had arranged to do a giveaway when I reached 100 subscribers on YouTube, and that did happen. In fact, as of the time of filming this, oh, and I have to preface this by saying, completely lied to you earlier, it is not July 1st, it is July 2nd. Alright, so, as of filming this on July 2nd, I currently have 117 subscribers. Hey! So the number continues to grow, and that is fantastic. I can't even explain how awesome it feels when that subscriber number increases, or when somebody comments on a video. I do always try and comment back, and I love the interactiveness of that. So yeah, also have the Ravelry page up and running, Rabe Creations on Ravelry. And I believe we now have 14 members to that group, so that's fun too. With this giveaway, there were 2 ways to enter, and you could have entered twice, some people did, where a comment on last podcast on episode 9 counted as an entry, but you could also go on over to Ravelry and put your name in that way as well. There was a thread that I'm not sure how to lock, I'm still figuring all this out, but there was a thread there for the 100 subscriber giveaway as well, and you could enter in that way as well. So let me show you one more time this absolutely beautiful giveaway package. So first we have this wonderful Canadiana project bag. It's a sock size bag. It's quite nice. It was made by Longview Creations, which is a maker right here in Alberta. It is a zippered bag. I've shown this a few times now, so we won't get into too much detail, but fully lined zippered bag with a nice little box bottom. The stitch marker that also goes with the prize package is from Sewn by Lindsay, another Etsy shop. This Etsy shop, I believe, is out of Saskatchewan, but again, Canadian makers. And a nice Canadian maple leaf to go with the very patriotic Beavers playing hockey. And then to go with that, of course, we need yarn. So the yarn that will be included in the giveaway is this beautiful skein of fingering sock white yarn. It is 75% superwash extra fine merino, 25% silk. So it is a wonderful soft, soft yarn. The color is amazing. It's bright oranges into reds. It has some purple tones in it. The colorway itself is called Bonfire of the Vanities, and it is dyed by Ancient Arts Yarns, which is a locally based dyer as well. So that will be the prize package. There may be the odd additional piece in that prize package, so we'll see how it goes. You may have a couple of surprises in there as well. We'll see how it is. So let's get into it. So totally, between the Ravelry entries and the YouTube entries, excuse me, I have a twitch happening in my eyes, driving me crazy. The struggle is real. Between the YouTube entries and the Ravelry entries, we did have 32 separate entries for the prize pack, which is amazing. Thank you so much. And I, earlier today, compiled everybody into a single list. Did a random number generator. It seems to be all the rage for these contests, so that is what I used. And ended up with entry number 10. And entry number 10 is, drumroll, see right here, Melinda Mills. So it was one of the YouTube entries that did win. So Melinda, congratulations. I'm so glad that you have subscribed and that you are enjoying the podcast, and that, yeah, thank you so much for entering the contest. It's really exciting. So if you'd like to contact me through Ravelry with your mailing address as quickly as possible, I will get that package out in the mail to you this week, and it should arrive soon. So congratulations again, Melinda. All right, now that all that excitement is over, let's move into finished projects. All right, some finished projects for you. Once again, this week, finished projects tends to be a little heavy in the sewing arena, mainly due to the fact that I'm working on several fairly large crocheting projects that are taking more time than just a 2-week period to complete. Lots of blankets still going on. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get into those finished sewing projects first. So first of all, last week I did show you my first jumbo-sized project bag that I created, and I talked a little bit about the one that was in progress, and that one has been completed as well. So here it is, ready for its debut. It is the jumbo-sized drawstring project bag. Again, box bottom bag. It has this beautiful sort of vintage cherries pattern as the main pattern, and some great stripes that I think go with it very, very well. The stripes at the top and on the handle are different than the stripes at the bottom, because, you know, got to be different. And on the inside, the fabric to the inside is a red and navy blue patterned. They look like polka dots, but they're squares. But again, I really like the combination of fabrics together. These bags, when I say jumbo, they truly are jumbo. When I photograph them for my Etsy page, they do hold 7 full skeins of Karen's Simply Soft yarn, and it only fills half the bag. So they are huge. They are meant for larger projects, for, you know, the larger shawls, and being able to carry more yarn and whatnot, being able to keep your whole project together. Yeah, I'm really liking this size. As I said, nice drawstring. You can tie it. Yeah, so that is another of my jumbo project bags. I did create one of my not jumbo project bags, so one of the original project bag sizes that I was doing, more of the medium sized. This one, I love these fabrics. I think they're so beautiful. So this is the sea turtles design, so it's got all of the colorful little sea turtles on it, but very soft, very summer in its colors. The floral print at the bottom really does mimic the floral print on the sea turtles, which is kind of nice. The handle and the casing sort of have these pink seashell type shapes on them. Again, all sort of playing together nicely. And on the inside, we have this colorful striped fabric. Again, fully lined, box bottom bag. These are a great size for a sock pattern or a sock project. A small shawl or a lightweight shawl will fit into there as well. Yeah. So that is one of the medium-sized drawstring bags, again, listed on Etsy. Now finally, in the sewing area, I came up with a pattern for a crochet hook roll. I sort of based the pattern of this on the knife rolls that chefs use. So chefs in restaurants will have a roll that they put their knives in, and then it's got a flap that goes over top and they can roll it up, and it keeps their knives safe and allows them to transport them from place to place. So that's kind of where I based the idea of this on. So it does unroll. Let me show you the inside first. So as I said, it does have this flap. And patterning wise, it does go with the other bag that I just showed you. So here we have all these little spaces. This is the largest space in the bag, suitable for a pair of small craft scissors. And then each of these spaces measures about 3/4 of an inch, enough to put, you know, a crochet hook in each spot. There are 11 spots along, and then the space for the scissors. Once you put all of your hooks in there, let me demonstrate. So the hooks just slide on in there like so. There you go. So imagine that is all filled with crochet hooks. You flip the top down. Again, it stops those crochet hooks from falling out. And then the roll rolls up. Hence why it's called a roll. Much easier to do this on a table, which I do not have in front of me. But it rolls up. And the tie is, again, completely sewn, constructed. And it ties up. I'll just tie it on my knee. Okay, there we are. So there is the roll tied. Yeah, so you can put your hooks in there. It's great for transporting hooks and so that things don't get lost. And also good just for storage around so that you're always putting your hooks in the same place. But yeah, so that is my crochet hook roll that I am quite proud of, I have to say. There was a bit of sewing and then ripping out and then sewing and then ripping out and then sewing. But eventually it all did come together, so that was quite fun. And it is also my Etsy shop. I think going forward I will try and make sort of the coordinating crochet roll to most of the bags that I produce. Kind of neat to have both as a gift-giving opportunity. Alrighty, so that is it for finished pieces this week. As I said, most of my current works that I am progressing on are larger projects. I've got a couple of blankets on the go, and they just take a little bit more of a time investment. So I'll be showing those to you next in current projects. Alright, so moving into the realm of current projects. I do have 3 separate blankets on the go and one new project I have just started. So there's a bit to show you in this segment of the podcast. So let us start out with my Granny Stripes Fugly blanket. I did show this to you last time, and I keep finding myself drawn to this project, especially when I'm, you know, perhaps sitting and watching podcasts or doing things that require my attention elsewhere. There's something that is strangely calming about doing granny stripes, row after row after row of granny stripes. And I have made significant progress over these past 2 weeks. So I'm going to hold this up. There is no way it's all going to fit on screen anymore. So yeah, bear with me. And it's only going to get bigger. Remember, I'm making this in a queen, I'm trying to make it large enough to be a cover for a queen size bed. So it's going to be massive. It's already gigantic. So this is the blanket as it sits today. So this holding across is half the blanket. So let us start from this corner and go along and go along, and then we go along and we keep on going and we keep on going. We keep on going. So yes, it is getting to the point that it is absolutely massive. Last time I showed it to you, I was right there where this progress marker is, or progress keeper. So I have done I've pretty well doubled the size since last time. And as I said, just mindless back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, simple, plain granny stripes. But I love how this is turning out. I can hardly wait till it is big enough to go on the bed. Yeah, there's just something about these granny stripe blankets. They're so random and such mixed colors, and they have that retro, rustic, potentially shabby chic. They're just gorgeous. I love them. Absolutely adore them. So that is project number 1. The second project to talk to you about is living down here in this tote bag. And the middle section of the hydrangea stripes baby blanket that I have been working on is now complete. So I do not have enough of the colors to do any more of this initial striping. So this is the middle section of the baby blanket. It is based on the Attic 24 hydrangea stripe blanket pattern that is available as a free pattern on Ravelry. By all means, go check it out. It is a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It gives you end up with a rather lacy looking pattern, but it doesn't have huge holes in it, so perfect in my opinion for a baby blanket. But as you can see, it is not nearly the right size for a baby blanket. I do tend to make my baby blankets rather large, but it is long and narrow at this point. So as I said, I am working on 2 panels that I can attach to either side, and I think I will actually design it that way, where it is a full-on panel, and then I'll seam it together, just like I would if I was doing granny squares. I'm playing around with green as the main color and potentially a little bit of white striping. I don't think, as I said before, that I'm going to do the hydrangea stripes going the other direction. I think it may be a different stripe pattern, just because I really like that eclectic put together look. But yeah, so that's where I'm at so far. Now I am just coming up with the design for the 2 side panels, and hopefully at least one of them will be completed for the next podcast. But yes, really quite enjoying how this one is turning out. So the yarns in this, before I forget, are unknown. I am stash busting all over the place, both with my granny stripe blanket and with this one. So this is all just leftover odds and ends of I guess it was probably not even a DK, maybe a DK, a sport weight. It's not quite fingering, but a little bit heavier than that. But yeah, just leftover yarns. And my third blanket pattern that I am currently working on is the one that I am making. Oh, wait a minute, Justin, Laura, you know the drill. Plug your ears, turn away. All right, I'm sure they're not watching. Justin, my son, and Laura, my daughter-in-law-to-be, are getting married this September, and I am creating a blanket for them. I did introduce the pattern last week, and I have made some progress. So the blanket itself is called there it is, Shaded Motifs Crochet Blanket, and it is a Yarnspirations pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, as well as you may be able to get it at Michael's as well. And I am creating it using Karen's Simply Soft yarn, 100% acrylic, but that way it's easy wash, easy care for the newlywed couple. I have now completed 26 of 56 squares, so it is based on a granny square pattern. I have 30 more to go, but let me show you. they have? Oh my goodness. So I started out with the blue squares, and I did 12 of the blue squares, then moved on to these red ones. So the only difference between the blue and the red, as I said last podcast, is where there's red on this one, there's a country blue on the other one. So I've done 12 blue ones, 12 red ones, and now I have moved on to this beautiful lilac purple color. And there needs to be 11 of these, and I've done 2. So moving right along, once you've got the pattern memorized for most, as is the same with most granny squares, it is pretty mindless and you can do it without referring back to anything. But yeah, so I actually really like how the gray and this purple play together. This might be a color combination that I use in the future as well for other projects. I really like how that one is turning out. So finally, as I alluded to in my previous episode, in my previous segment, oh my goodness, the words, I cast on, what do you call it in crochet? Knitting is they've got that term of them being able to cast on. I started, I hooked, I don't know, I began a new project. Let me grab it for you. So this one is living in one of my project bags that I showed previously on the podcast. This one is one that I am keeping. So I've begun another pair of socks. So this pattern came from the, let me see here, Inside Crochet magazine, and it is issue number 101. There's a few different sock patterns in here, and this is the one that immediately called to me. It is called Pearl Socks, and the designer is Vita Apala. I hope I'm saying that correctly. There's another picture of them there. So the way these, I love the toe construction of this sock is amazing. I'll show it to you in a minute. It is by far, so far, my favorite toe construction. These are a toe up sock. It is a fairly basic crochet pattern through the foot. The detailing, the interest in this sock certainly does lie in the cuff, and it has an extremely long cuff. It doesn't have a leg per se, the whole leg is cuff. So let me show you where I've gotten to. So here we go. So this is the first of the socks. This one does not have contrasting heels or toes. I am working them in a solid color, which is a little different for me. But yeah, so this so far is the toe of the sock, the foot of the sock, and I am currently working on the heel. So a fairly basic construction through the foot. The heel has, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up on this or not, but the heel has some raised ridging detailing on it. This is about half the heel. The heel now grows in the other direction and in the seam down the sides. And then will come the cuff with all of its detailing. So I am looking forward to that. Let me talk to you a little bit about this yarn. Oh my goodness. So this yarn is a hand-dyed fingering weight yarn. It is hand-dyed by Shelley at Polka Dot Creek, which is a yarn dyer out of Airdrie, Alberta. And this is her sparkle sock base. It is a superwash merino, nylon, and stellina blend, and the color is called Sky Blue. It is a tonal blue color with a beautiful amount of sparkle in it. But I really understand why this is called sky blue now. And I hope this will pick up on camera. I do apologize for the changing light. The storm is blowing in quickly. I hope we are not disrupted by any thunder, but that could happen as well. Anyway, on to the socks. So, as I am working up this yarn, it is definitely tonal with darker blues and lighter blues and patches here and there. This truly is the color of an Alberta sky in the summer when there's no clouds. That is the blue of the sky. I was actually working on these outside on the deck the other day, and as I was working on them, I looked up and I had that eureka aha moment of recognizing exactly where the colorway name came from. Yeah, well done, Shelley at Polka Dot Creek Yarns, because this is the perfect Alberta sky blue. I love this yarn. And it's sparkly. You can't go wrong with sparkly socks. So that is my newest project on the hook, and my fourth current project that I am going to show you for this week. So that brings us to the end of this segment, and we will be moving on to some new acquisitions. All right, so moving on to some acquisitions that have come into my possession. I know in the last podcast I said, I'm trying to hold off, not buying too much stuff because of the Fiber Festival that I'm going to in September, but I just couldn't resist. So first of all, we can talk about that which is hanging over my left shoulder. This is my new mannequin. I was at the fabric store buying some more fabric, and they were clearing out their display mannequins for less than half price. I believe it was probably about 65–70% off, which was amazing. I've had my eye on getting one of these for quite some time. I do a number of craft fairs, and I've been looking for a mannequin to help with my display, but the prices that I was finding were rather outrageous. I wasn't looking for a true sewing mannequin, the ones that you use to design on and to get the proper sizing and whatnot. That's not what I was looking for. I was just looking for a display mannequin. The ones that I found online that were similar to this were coming from overseas, from China, and were going to take months and months and months to arrive, and would have been more expensive even without shipping. They ended up paying for the one that I got at the local fabric store. So yay, I have my new mannequin. She is wearing a shawl, and she will be accompanying me to my trade fairs that are going to be coming up. I have a confirmed show in October and then another one in November. I do try and do a couple in that time period. So that means that I need to start thinking about Halloween, fall, and Christmas designs. Oh, I said it. Christmas in July, I guess, right? Just so that I can get my stock built up for those shows. All right, so the other acquisition I had involved an Etsy order. It's true. I have a problem. And I guess we could call this the Polka Dot Creek episode, because it's another skein and some other stuff from Polka Dot Creek. So again, Shelley is the dyer behind Polka Dot Creek, and it is out of Airdrie, Alberta, which is not that far from Calgary. It's kind of, yeah. It is on the opposite end of the city from me and then outside the city, so it is a bit of a drive to get to Airdrie, but you know, I'm ordering things, so it's being mailed to me anyway. But here it is. So it is, again, a tonal. I'm quite proud of myself sort of looking at these tonals. This is on Polka Dot Creek's Classic Sock base. So it is a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It is a fingering weight 4-ply, 100 grams, 463 yards to 100 grams. I really love this color. Purple is my color. So to find this beautiful, beautiful skein, I just couldn't resist. And Polka Dot Creek was doing a free shipping event. It was too much temptation. So I ended up getting this skein of lilac yarn, which I'm sure will probably end up as socks, but may become part of another project. You never know. It'll go live in my fingering weight yarn collection for now until the muse strikes. With that, however, I did also get a micro mini skein set. These are the cutest little mini skeins I have ever seen. They are truly micro. There's, I believe, 20 grams to each little mini skein, but they are beautiful. Will be fantastic for toes and heels, but also would be great in a memory type blanket. I just love these colors. So this one is sort of a variegated, tends to have a green overtones, but there's blues, there's pinks, darker greens, yellows, all in there. The other variegated micro mini is this one here, which is much more almost candy-like. It's got, you know, the aquas and the purples and the reds. It's got every color in it, but definitely on a lighter base, lighter colored base. And then there's 3 tonal minis that came with it too. So one looks gray, a nice pale yellow, and a nice pale teal, or aqua. But I think these are just beautiful. And they're so cute. I just love it. The cuteness factor. The cuteness factor abounds. Alrighty. So that is it for my acquisitions. Not as many as sometimes there have been, but I am trying to use up stash and put a little bit aside for the fiber fair at the end of September. Alright, so we have one more segment left, and it will be a trip to the bookshelf. Stay tuned. So, moving into the final segment of today's podcast, I took a little trip to the bookshelf, and I found a gem. So the book I'd like to share with you today is called Everything Beautiful Is Not Ruined, and it is by an author named Danielle Young Allman. So this is a beautiful coming-of-age story. It does have a little bit of grit to it. It is, in my opinion, intended for older young adult audiences. It does have some topics that may be inappropriate for a young audience. Often we have our clients coming into work, who are our customers, who are reading at a level much higher than their grade level. And we do have to be careful and know content, because this book does have content that would be inappropriate for a younger reader, but is a perfect teen, you know, middle school, or what we call junior high school and high school it would be perfect for those age groups. Also very appropriate for adults. Be a wonderful book to share with your teenage child as a discussion point. It does have some rather important topics in it about being able to say no. Yes, the strength of just saying no. It is a coming-of-age story. It takes place, it is the story of a teenage girl, and it takes place in a outdoor adventure type camp, but the camp is designed for children at risk. So there's a lot of the kids that are at this camp have a criminal past, are at risk for various types of reasons. We're not sure why this character is there. She seems like the odd one out. The story itself sort of bounces back and forth between present time, when she's at this summer camp, and her past, when she was traveling with her mother, who is an opera singer. She has, yeah, it can be very heart-wrenching at times, but great conversation starting. Yeah, it has no paranormal or spooky elements to it like a lot of my reading tends to do. It is not fantasy at all. It is truly reality-based, and reality can sometimes be pretty gritty, and this book is that. But a great summer read. I like to think of, you know, I like to recommend books in the summer that actually take place in the summer, so this one works out quite well. And I do recommend it for everyone, adults and older children, you know, those teenage years. So that is Everything Beautiful is Not Ruined by Danielle Young Allman. So before I leave, I would just like to say that on the Ravelry page, if you haven't joined, please come over and join us. As that community gets bigger, I hope it gets more and more active and we can do some crochet alongs and whatnot through there. But I do have a thread open on there that encourages you to ask me questions that I can answer on the podcast. So I am going to do the first of those question and answers right now. So the question was posed by Jaden27 on Ravelry. And her question was, how long have I been crocheting? And what are my absolute favorite books? Well, let's address the crocheting question. So I have sort of been involved in fiber crafting, crocheting, rug hooking, corking. I don't know if anybody else will know what corking is. Since I've been about, 5-6 years old. So it has been 43, 44, 40 plus years, we'll call it, that I have been on and off crocheting. My serious delve into crochet crafting, pattern reading, designing, the different fibers, all of that sort of has happened in the past 4 or 5 years. The basic skill set was there. I knew how to crochet, but the reading of the patterns, that sort of thing, has all happened in the past 4 to 5 years. Now, asking a bibliophile what their favorite books are is kind of like asking a mother to choose her favorite child. It is very, very difficult. What I can tell you is my genre of choice tends to be horror. I read a lot in our horror department. I like things a little bit spooky. I can tell you that as a child, the first couple of books that I remember being able to say, these are my favorite. In elementary school, there was 2 of them. One was called Georgie, who was a ghost. And we're talking probably grades 1 or 2. So these are picture books, and Georgie was a ghost. And that was one of my first all-time favorite books. The other one was Clifford the Big Red Dog, which has nothing spooky in it, but I thought it was hysterical because my dad's name is Clifford, so therefore Clifford the Big Red Dog held a certain amount of humor that, you know, children in grades 1 and 2, they get that humor. But yes, so Clifford the Big Red Dog and Georgie the Ghost are the two earliest memories I have of books. So I've always been sort of attracted to ghosties and ghoulies and things that go bump in the night. Yeah, long-legged beasties. My current and all-time favorite author is Mr. Stephen King. I think the man is a genius. He is remarkable. He is incredibly prolific, and I love almost everything he does. Yeah, an amazing, amazing author. So that's it. That is how long I've been crocheting and my favorite books. Although I kind of skirted the issue on favorite books because I can't. It's too hard. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button. I would love to see you in another 2 weeks. And if you have subscribed, thank you so much. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Alrighty then. Until then, happy crocheting. Enjoy any kind of crafting that you get up to. Sit down, spend some time with a good book, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye now.